Top of the morning to you. My name is, I don't know why I'm doing the accent. Also, my channel, man. Cut. Hello, my name is blah blah. I don't know why I keep doing the accents. Hi, my name is Ben, and welcome to the All Things New YouTube channel. This is the sister channel of The Way. And today, because of the recent failure of these last couple videos that I've done, focusing on the Jehovah's Witness, aka the Watchtower, I'll be going back to what actually works. Bashing on the Mormons. But seriously though, go check these videos out. I think that they're really informative, and I think they're kind of fun, especially this middle one here. It's just the little cartoon that they have in the middle of the documentary. It's kind of fun, but go check it out because these views are looking sad, and it's not helping out my channel. So, without further ado, let's get over here. So today, the documentary that we're going to be looking at is a 3-hour long one. Yay! Don't worry, I'll be splitting it into different parts. I might even try and trim it down into just one concise video. But we're going to be looking at the fundamentalist community down in Utah, in a community called The Rock. And the fundamentalist LDS Church, as they like to call themselves, is a group of Mormons that still practice the art or the practice of polygamy. So one husband having multiple wives, having as many children as possible. They do, of course, remember from that documentary that we watched last time, they do believe that when they die, if they become good enough, then they can get to the celestial heaven and become gods and have multiple wives in heaven and populate an earth of their own or a planet of their own. And so the idea behind the fundamentalist group is to practice that here on earth and have as many wives as possible and as many children as possible. In my opinion, only one of these husbands really pulls it off effectively. I, of course, don't believe that it's biblical to have more than one wife. Obviously, there are examples of people that have multiple wives in the Bible, but that's God showing the reality of the situation and not really showing necessarily that it's a good thing. We can get into that probably within this video. But there's only really one husband in here that, in my opinion, kind of pulls it off, and even there's some issues going on. And then the other husbands are kind of, how do I say this politely, not great to their wives. There's even a moment later in the documentary where his 3 wives decide to not up and leave him, but to go on vacation on their own, and he gets very concerned about it. It's actually quite a funny part of the documentary. So let's get into it. Let's explore what it's like having multiple wives. And to be honest with you, if I was a Mormon, this is where I'd be. I'd be having multiple wives. I'd be having babies. But let's see how this works out. Nice.
Way out in the Utah desert is a community called Rockland Ranch, where 14 families have blasted their homes into an enormous sandstone rock.
This guy, one right here, that first guy that they just showed, he's the best husband on the whole show. He's caring, he's as loving as he can be to all of his wives very equally. He seems to have the best relationship with his children. Obviously don't agree with the way that he's living. However, if you're going to do it, I would recommend doing it like this guy. He's a prime example.
Not the only unusual
and the only good one in this whole documentary.
Half the men here have more than one wife.
This guy's so great.
Attracted to sassy women, and my wives are sassy, all 3 of them.
All 3 of them. All 3 of my wives are sassy.
Marriage relationship between a man and his wives.
They're fundamentalist Mormons.
Love you, Jesus!
Until now, they haven't wanted to draw attention to their polygamous lifestyle. But the families at the Rock are tired of living in the shadows. and have allowed us to film with them for a year.
Oh yeah, so by the way, they aren't legally allowed to have more than one wife because, in the USA. So how they do it is they have one legal wife, and then the rest of them they're only married to spiritually, so they're technically girlfriends by the law. Legally they're not married to the other women. They're only legally married to one. Just in case you're wondering how they got
Once you
around
get to
that.
know them, their way of life won't seem so strange after all.
Are they playing Weezer? Or this? Three wives, one husband. That's a video for another time. On a different platform.
This is the place we live. Rockland Ranch itself. Home.
In the 1970s, Bob Foster was inspired by God to move to the middle of the desert, where he could raise his polygamous family without being judged. 40 years on, the community Bob set up is home to over 100 people.
So this has been around for a bit.
As Mormons, they believe that after his resurrection, Jesus Christ came to America to spread the word of God.
We're grateful for the opportunities we have for our children to...
But what sets fundamentalists apart from the mainstream Mormon church?
What does?
Is their belief that polygamy is one way to reach the highest level of heaven.
You cannot become a god if you don't live plural marriage. So that's why our family is the way it is. 3 moms, Kappa, and all you kids.
How many wives are too many wives?
One.
This guy. This is the good husband right here.
Gosh, I know people that have 7, 8 wives and they're quite functional.
Are they?
Like, love each other. I'll let you know though. If I get to the point where I'm like,
If I had 7 or 8 wives, I'd be like, all right, you're going to be pregnant this year. You two that are on your periods, you're going over here. I'm going to go visit this wife over here. And I'd just be making a rotation out of it, which, funnily enough, is kind of what they do. Because as far as I remember from the documentary, none of these women actually live in the same. Some of them live in the same house, but they live in different sections of the house with their kids. And I think this guy might even have a house for each of his wives, like a little shed or something. It's like, all right, go back to your shed. So that's kind of weird because I figured if you're going to have multiple wives, they'd all be gathering together, helping out with the house chores and stuff, which they do. I guess they get their own little section. And so I think the idea that they have is like, okay, one night I'm going to go visit this wife and have, cunnilingus, or I'm going to have a family night with these set of children and do, a game night, whatever. But let's keep watching.
I'm like, oops, that last one was a mistake.
That last one. Woo.
That was too much. I'm going to just say, hey, made a mistake, guys.
Didn't you wiggle the baby out now?
There are 7
Wiggle.
polygamous families at the Rock. And Enoch Foster's is the biggest of the lot, with 2 wives and 16 children.
16 children. I have a handful with just one.
Enoch's second wife, Lillian, is expecting the family's 17th child any day now.
Swing your hips. Work the baby.
His first wife, Katrina, was his childhood sweetheart. And after 8 years of marriage, it was Katrina who suggested that Lillian join the family.
As I fell so deeply in love with Enoch, and being married to a man that I felt like had so much love to give, I found myself wanting to be able to let someone else have the opportunity to share that experience.
One day Trina just goes, I feel like Lillian's part of me, part of you, part of us.
This girl I didn't even know. I mean, we really didn't even know her.
And a week.
That's interesting because, when I first watched this documentary, I figured it'd be the guys advocating to have more wives, and some of them in this video do, but seems like he was, content with his wife, and then his wife made the suggestion to have an extra wife. So I don't know. Maybe it's because of the culture that they grew up in. Maybe that's just these girls are okay with it. Some of them seem like it, but other ones, if you look at them, they seem really depressed and like not happy. But like I said, this guy is probably the best husband out of all the ones we're gonna see, and he seems to love both of his wives equally, at least on the outside, and so they're probably the happiest family in the whole bunch. But anyways, yeah, just pointing that out there. It's kind of weird.
A week later, she's like, yes, and a week later, we're married. You know, just like this
Week later.
crazy, passionate person.
Crazy.
In the name of Jesus Christ, I pronounce you legally and lawfully husband and wife, and for all eternity. I say to you, be fruitful and multiply.
I wonder how many wives has Yoda had over there.
A challenge coming into an established family.
You make us a bride.
But I would way rather have a piece of a really good man than a whole man who wasn't as good.
Oh, watch it. I'm taking both of you wives tonight. I'm sorry. I just think it's funny.
Lillian's baby isn't the only addition to the family that Enoch's preparing for. He's courting 25-year-old nanny Lydia Rose to become his third wife.
I don't know how old Enoch is.
There's a series of cabins we're building up here.
I think he's definitely older than her.
I want to go look at it. That one is just a studio apartment, but I think I'm going to make it bigger. That one is a one-bedroom with a loft.
Courtships are more formal than dating. So Lydia already has to start thinking about whether she wants to marry Enoch.
Just imagining the other moms in there just like floors, taking care of the kids, and this guy's out on a date with some other chick. Like obviously, supposedly being very formal, probably not touching her too much or anything, but it's like, all right, I guess my husband's gonna go get another wife. I better start in the house. Better start making dinner for the 10 other babies she's gonna have.
Obviously, we're courting. News. Breaking news. Part of courting is just considering possibilities. And if we decide to go ahead and get married,
she is
I would
cute.
like Lydia to feel like she has her own space, especially, I think, during that first year, before she has a baby of her own.
Bro, you better get that place sparkled up.
Playing with ideas.
Is she gonna live there?
Are you excited about the prospect of being a newlywed again?
No, not really. I think 2 wives is enough. I think having sex only like 3 times a week is adequate for me. I think adding another wife in there would just be too much. But if it's God's will, I guess I'll take another wife.
I think I can put up with it.
Can you? Oh wow. She jumped into it. I love the snow.
Over the last couple of months, Lydia has been visiting Rockland Ranch to see how the Fosters live.
Wow, that looks so cool.
The Fosters, I feel like that.
While most people at the Rock have ordinary jobs in local towns, Enoch and his wives earn a living running the community's building projects.
I hope you're not starving to death. I feel terrible. I said I'd get you food, and that was 2 hours ago.
Don't worry about it. Give me 2 seconds and I'll come eat.
All right.
Tell me he has 2 wives and a girlfriend, and none of them have made him breakfast yet. I think they're gonna lose their jobs.
Poor Enoch, you don't
You're
have
getting
any
demoted to
bugs.
girlfriend. I'm sorry.
You hopefully will soon. Lydia's amazing.
I've tried
I mean, what have you all been doing taking
cooking
care of
wife,
16
but
kids? Get
she'll
in there and make
slow.
me some breakfast.
Food's overrated. I'd rather have a wife working beside me anyway.
This is gonna be the new workout spot.
It's a pretty good workout. It is, isn't it?
Okay.
Every stare. You cheated. You cheated. That's ouchie.
My grandfather had 4 wives, and
Whoa.
my mother was one of the oldest of 36. It influenced me in the way that I want to become that kind of a person.
I guess if they're growing up in it, it's normal for them, so they're expecting it. It's not like this guy's going on Tinder and finding some bimbo out in the street and like, hey, how do you feel about having 2 other wives? You know, like this person was raised in the faith that they believe in, and she's used to having seeing husbands with more than 1 wives, and so it's something that she wants. So yeah, I guess that would explain why this family seems to be a little more hunky-dory. I figured there'd be a lot more fighting, which we will see in the next family, because like I said, Enoch over here, he is the only good husband in this whole documentary. The other one does not know what he's doing. I don't even think he should have 1 wife, but let's keep going.
You can do all kinds of incredible things with the desire to change the world. But what greater way than being the mother of nations? To love and to make an impact on every little life. That is so priceless. And yes, it's hard, but nothing great ever came easy.
Because the fundamentalist community is like a much smaller community than the mainstream LDS church, I wonder how much, it'd be interesting to see a statistic on how much incest goes on. You know, like, are they marrying their brothers and sisters or cousins or whatever? Like, I don't know. It'd be interesting to look into, because I know that the fundamentalist community is a lot smaller than the mainstream LDS church, and it's only in certain places. So it'd be interesting to find that statistic. Hey yo, oh yo, hey yo, oh, that sounds. Oh. Aww. She must be pretty far into labor. Or not labor.
To help Lydia feel
pregnancy.
like she's part of the family, Lillian has invited her to the birth.
Do whatever your body tells you to now.
Oh, okay. She's going into labor.
Okay. If it tells you
She's having a baby. You're gonna add 17.
Many fundamentalists believe that it's their sacred calling to have lots of children. And Lillian and Katrina take it in turns to have babies.
It's kind of cool to see that the other wife is very, at least on television, very loving of the other wife.
Come on, you got this.
Whoa. Am I allowed to show that on here? Am I allowed to blur that
You
out?
did it, Lil. You did it.
No, they're allowed to show it on here, so. Warning, mature content.
Oh, there's a baby.
Aw, Rachel.
Warm towel. We need a warm towel. Oh, so cute.
Say hi to Mama. Thank you, Mama.
Regardless of what you believe, whether you believe it's okay to have multiple wives or not, I think we can all agree that a newborn baby is just something beautiful, no matter how it comes about.
What's your name, little boy?
Oh, he's so cute, or she. I don't even know if they announced it. So,
I never wanted to be a first wife because with a single man, you just don't ever know what he'll be like. He can say a lot of good things. Is that the reality of how he is or how it will be? And it's pretty cool to be able to know exactly what you're getting before you get into it. You already know what kind of a father he'd be or what kind of a husband.
You guys want to see him?
dude, that kid has huge ears. Elephant ears.
Are you guys all going to take good care of him?
Yes.
And teach him what's right?
Yes.
And love him lots?
Yes. He's adorable.
I want my family really, really, really bad. But not enough to compromise or settle.
Will she
I need
stay?
to feel like I'm in love before I make this choice.
That'd be a hilarious show if they made like The Bachelorette or the no, it'd be the Bachelor. Like, you know, he's already got 3 wives, and it's like, just like I don't know. That'd be an interesting show. The Bachelor.
Right,
How
everyone
many
say goodbye to
wives
Lydia.
will
She's
you
got to
have?
go.
How many sisters?
At the moment, Enoch spends alternate nights with Katrina and Lillian. But if Lydia becomes his third wife, he'll have less time with his existing family.
We don't know. That's why we couldn't find her. So.
I see that's one of the big problems I have with this is like the more wives you have, the more kids you have, you're gonna be spending less and less time with those other wives and kids unless they all live together, you know? And so just feel like there's gonna be a lot of maybe not trauma might not be the right word, but some of those kids might feel a little neglected, right? It's like, okay, we haven't seen Papa John in like 2 days, or whatever, and like he's not playing with us very much because he's over here with this other family, and it seems like a lot to juggle. All jokes aside, it seems like a lot to juggle, a lot of responsibility to have, and yeah, to me, it's like most people, almost everyone that has a family already has problems with that within that one family, and issues with their children in one family. So having multiple families just seems like you'd be spread way too thin to be fully in tune with that one family. That's just me.
Dad, he needs to talk to you.
I feel very strongly in my ability to love all 3 of these girls. But there is risk involved. Is it gonna just tear us apart and destroy us and destroy our marriage and our relationships? Or is it probable that what we could build could be even more beautiful and involve more people?
I will say that it is good that he's thinking about, okay, how would this affect the 2 marriages I already have and the kid, So like I said again, this is the only husband on this documentary that actually seems like he cares. The other guy, when he gets an opportunity to have another wife or 2, yeah, I did say or 2, he just seems very much like, well, I'll do it no matter what. And it's like, well, God's will would be for you to take care of the wives you already have, but we'll see that later.
I would guess that probably the courtship will advance to marriage, I would think. But man, you just never know. Sometimes God just throws these curveballs at you and gives you an opportunity to grow a little more.
Well, boy, you just never know. Sometimes God just gives you a whole bunch of wives. Sometimes he just gives you the roulette wheel, you know. Anyways, we're gonna stop this part of the video here. It's a very long video. I'm gonna do multiple sections of it. I'm trying a new style of videos. I'm gonna try to actually edit this one, so we'll see how it goes. And